I'd like to call the port meeting to order at this time. Ms. Newberry will lead us in the prayer, and I'll lead with the pledge. Roll call, please. Machine is open.
Councilmember Gooey, Councilmember Rousseau. Thank you.
8-member present, Mr. Blank is absent. Ms. Newberry.
We take this moment to acknowledge Almighty God and thank Him for our bountiful blessings, especially for the parish's natural resources. We give thanks to God for our brave and courageous men and women in our military who daily risk their lives to protect our precious freedom, and we pray for our world leaders to know how to obtain world peace. We pray that this government body comprised of both council and administration will always serve our parish with honesty, humility, and equality to all. And this government body gathers here today. We pray for the wisdom we know right from wrong and the courage to do that which is right. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Over deferrals and withdrawals at this time. 6A, B is deferred, and E is deferred. Q, R, and S is withdrawn. I beg your pardon? Okay. 6B and E is deferred. Withdrawn are Q, R, and S. And O, I'm sorry, and O,
Is withdrawn.
withdrawn. Okay. All right, Bob.
There is no executive session. Number 3, status report by the Executive Port Director.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chairman, and members of the board. I am Sandy Sanders, Executive Director of Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District. Follows is my Executive Director's report for the reporting period of 15 November through 11 December of 2019. I have one significant item to report, that being the meeting with Major General Toy with the Vicksburg District of the United States Army Corps of Engineers. General Toy provided a very detailed description of items included in the 2020 WRDA bill as it related to dredging, and the emphasis that is being placed on the need to keep the pressure on getting the Mississippi River dredged to its authorized level. And now some good news about our staff. Deputy Port Director Paul Matthews was selected as a participant for Leadership Louisiana in the class of 2020. This is a statewide group of highly successful, talented individuals. I'll say that while he's not here. With various backgrounds and interests to address the many challenges faced by the state of Louisiana. We're very proud of Paul. We hired Danielle Rollo in the accounting department associated with billings on the river and facilities. Also, Erica Brown and Harlan Sherman will be attending the Certified Port Executive Training in 2020. I would like to highlight an employee who's worked very hard here lately, Brenda Lally. She has recently completed her 4th semester in college towards obtaining her accounting degree within the Port's Professional Development Tuition Reimbursement Plan. This is a very difficult thing for her to do, to go to school, anybody to go to school after hours. And Brenda's a single mom, and we are very proud of her and how she has applied her efforts to obtain this very difficult degree. Donald Durr, sitting in the audience, he's the Port's Director of Security and Vessels, became a grandfather for the first time. And I got to meet his new granddaughter right before I came down here. So congratulations, Grandpa. Chambrel Riley and Paul Matthews will accompany Commissioners Blake and Newberry, our Port's incoming chairman and vice chairwoman, They are scheduled to attend the American Association of Port Authorities course on shifting trades. This conference, in my opinion, is one of the best that's given by AAPA because of the deepening and widening of the Mississippi River will have a huge impact on Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District as we pursue a container terminal. At this time, I would like the port staff to join me in front of the podium, please. Donald, come on up. Lastly, today marks the last meeting of the year and the last meeting for John Bartholomew as port chairman. The staff has gotten together and we truly appreciate your leadership, Mr. Bartholomew. And as such, we wanted to recognize your role with a memento. So would you please come forward?
It's not the tax Obama.
Let me say that Chairman Bartholomew, he often stops by the port office to visit the staff. He drinks all our coffee, bugs all the girls. But he makes a really good effort, as he always has, to understand the issues. Doesn't always vote our way, but he votes his mind. And we really appreciate the effort, the leadership that you gave. And so if you wouldn't mind coming over here, we have a gift for you. So, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. We really, truly appreciate your leadership. All right, we'll go this way. All right, look, great.
I see it's over for today. No.
Oh, don't give him the mic.
Mr. Director and your staff, I really appreciate the support and the help that y'all gave me while I was chairman of the port. It means a lot, it meant a lot to me. And you are a diverse organization. It's just what it is. Very diverse, different talented people. Sometimes it gets to a point where it's kind of rough sometimes, but it's the persistence prevail, the honesty of it was very sincere. And I really appreciate their efforts in helping Plaquemine Parish get to a new vision, a new process, a new resource to where we all can benefit and supply more productive services to our citizens, because we need the port in operation. And thank you for y'all efforts.
In closing, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to wish everyone a safe and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Subject to your questions or comments, this concludes my brief.
Comments from the table? Audience? Next item, please.
Item 3A, financial report, budget to actual.
On October 10, 2019, a budget performance report was sent to the board as of December 10, 2019. If there are no questions, that concludes my report.
Any questions from the table? Audience? Next item, please.
Number 4, there are no bids and advertisements. Number 5, introductions of ordinances and resolutions.
Anyone have any introductions? Next item, please.
Number 6, ordinances and resolutions on second reading and final passage. 6C, A resolution authorizing Maynard J. Sandy Sanders, Executive Director of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, to enter into an exclusivity agreement with Strategic Investment Partner and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
Councilman Bowie,
Offer.
is there a second? Before that, I'd like to offer with some changes. Ms. Barbara, would you read the changes, please?
On line 1, a resolution authorizing Maynard Sandy Sanders, Executive Director of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District.
Barb,
Excuse me.
That's all I have.
the agreement.
That's it.
Oh,
I got
the
it.
agreement.
I got it, I got it.
On the agreement, they're adding a section under 4C. LA 23 shall, as a condition of the effectiveness of this agreement, provide to the Executive Director of the Port a written list of persons or companies with which LA 23 has an agreement or contract related to the areas provided for in this section, existing on the date of the execution of this agreement, and thereafter provide to the Executive Director of the Port the name of any person or company with which LA 23 enters into agreement or contract within 15 days of execution thereof. Under Section 12, adding the following. LA 23 shall not be a party to any agreement related to the subject areas of Section 4B with any person with which the Port Administration or Parish Council had already entered into discussions, negotiations, or entered into any agreement, either verbally or in writing, prior to the execution of this agreement. Under Section 13, changing the word subject to subservient. Under Section 19, removing the word stipulated, inserting damages of whatever nature for the breach of this agreement other than for violations of the confidentiality provision shall be limited to the immediate dissolution of the agreement without further obligation or by either side, confidentially or of information being the only aspect of the agreement to survive such dissolution. And that's it for the changes.
I'll offer with those changes.
It's okay, that's all right.
I'm putting him.
A second? Yeah, okay. Questions? Table? So, Mr. Roussel?
Yes, as you know, I've been in opposition to the exclusivity agreement for many reasons. I understand that the amendments might make it palatable, and I understand the recent events will probably have this passed today. However, I'd like to know, for instance, I discussed this in a meeting that I had with the attorney and with the staff members in the last couple of days, that the Trident invoices and the attorney invoices that reflect a great deal of work, especially Trident invoices, that have been working with DevCo on projects evidently for the last year and a half or so. How do we justify all of that effort and now give an exclusivity to that company, since we have been developing evidently something by the invoices that I've read? And that question goes to Mr. Sanders.
Mr. Fetters and his company DevCo have been in many conversations, planning meetings that we have had. We have a Monday afternoon weekly meeting on projects that have been worked with, on that items that he is bringing to bear to the port. So sometimes he's on the meeting and sometimes he's not in the meeting, but those meetings are on, and so it would be natural and expected that we're still going to be billed by Trident for those meetings. His participation does not negate the fact that that's going to be on the billing.
And that's my point exactly. I understand it doesn't negate it, but have other individuals or companies had the advantage of using that knowledge and information that we've paid for to be able to develop projects, to come to the table and all of a sudden get an exclusivity agreement?
No other companies have brought us any projects.
Well, my point is that if we've been working and paying consultants and legal services over the last year and a half, 2 years, to develop these projects, when are we going to know what the projects are, first of all? And second of all, are you going to allow other people to come in and be on those conference calls and in those meetings to be able to have the same advantage as this exclusivity agreement gives?
Well, I'll answer the, the first one. We will be making announcements. Right now, most of these projects are covered by NDAs, but as they come to fruition and ready for the board to dig into the details, that will be when we'll bring them to the attention of the board. And the second one, if someone brings a project, certainly we'll bring them in.
And have you had other people bring projects that you have not entertained?
I have had projects that have been brought in that I entertained, but did not bring, it didn't go any further because for either, probably most of them dealt with environmental.
Environmental, would you elaborate on that?
Sure. It wasn't a good fit for clean environmental to our community, so I didn't entertain it.
And so I guess I'm going to leave the discussion, with this thought, that we have paid consultants, we have given advantage to this Devco company without opening it up to the free market. To be able to come to the point today to say that we're going to give them an exclusivity agreement, to be able to do all of the things that are listed in here. The issue that I have is that there are open market and other people that have not had this advantage of our consultants and all of the work that has been done that we have paid those consultants to do. They have not been able to have meetings. They have not been on emails. They have not been on conference calls. So all of this effort that our consultants have done put Devco in an advantage position, supposedly to be able to bring projects now to the forefront. Now, do you have a list of any of the contracts that Devco has entered into at this point, as Section C requires?
The only individual or entity that they have has been Drexel Hamilton thus far. Is that correct? And y'all know that.
And so, well, that brings up a whole nother story that I'd like to not get into because of the appraisal issue and so forth. But, so this says that once you execute this agreement, that they have to provide a list of all of the contracts, persons, and companies that they have an agreement with.
Okay.
And so that'll be provided to the entire board?
Yes, sir.
And when we talk about the NDAs, part of the problem is that, you use those NDAs, but you shield that information from the board.
I keep it very close hold so it does not get out in the public. That's correct.
So the board sits here in blindness, making decisions, not knowing what the real deal is.
No, as they come closer to fruition, I will bring the board in.
And I'll leave it with this, that you have brought in Devco into these discussions to put them in an extremely advantaged position even the board doesn't know about. So I'll leave it at that. And, I cannot support the exclusivity agreement because I'm an open market person.
Yes, sir.
Councilman Goy?
Sandy, you mentioned about, a question was asked about people who have come forward and proposals that you've entertained and projects you've entertained. In my dealings, there have been numerous individuals and companies who have come forward but really never offered anything. And I think more on that side of the equation than anyone who has really offered anything. And it's been my experience that when there was a project that had promise, it would reach a point to where the board would be brought into it. but I know that I have not been privy to every conversation you've ever had, nor do I want it. I think with this agreement, there was a lot of controversy in the when it was initially brought forward. And the comments and concerns that were expressed have been included in the agreement. Is there any, to your knowledge, any of the comments or concerns that were presented by any council member, were they not included in the agreement that Mr. Bartholomew had put together?
No, sir. That's why we deferred it last time and brought the concerns and made them part of this agreement. Mr. Fetters took it to his attorney and said, hey, we can live with these. So he's coming in eyes wide open.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Newberry, Councilman Newberry,
Yes.
Councilwoman, I'm sorry.
Mr. Sanders, you were hired to do a job, is that correct?
Say that again, ma'am?
You were hired to do a job to develop a port,
Yes, ma'am.
and that's exactly what you're doing.
That is correct.
You know, I understand some of the board members have an issue with the exclusivity, and I understand that, and I have some questions. But if we're going to sit here and not vote for a project that y'all have been trying to bring forth for the parish, we put a stop sign on this. We're putting a stop sign on development. That's how I see it. So I will support this so we can move forward. If this doesn't pass, where does this go from here?
To finish out the project that you're referring to, I'm going to need a tremendous amount of support operations. And that's going to cost a lot of money. I am going to have to pay someone to do that. In this case, I'm not paying Mr. Fetters. I would have to pay a lot of money to spin somebody up on where we are with this. I can do it myself, but I'll be frank with you. That's not my swim lane. I don't have that expertise. I can go to the state or go to the federal government and ask them for money, but that certainly hadn't worked. So Mr. Fetters has these contacts. They are waiting to jump in, and this is the best plan for us to move forward. And we're getting it free.
Well, thank you for your honesty. I hope the board would reconsider this. If you have any concerns against this, we do need to move forward. And if we do put a stop to this, he just answered your question, what could happen. So let's keep moving forward and support this.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Councilman Konovich,
As I stated before, I was against the exclusivity agreement, and still am. But then the first contract came was LA 23 parentheses DEFCO. Y'all told me there was no DEFCO, but now we hear that they've been in talks with Triton Holdings about everything. So there's a DEFCO.
Now, LA 23 is DEFCO.
But y'all told me there was no DEFCO, it's LA 23.
Okay, we might be talking semantics here, but it's the same thing. But go ahead.
But they not,
I'm sorry, if I may, just real quickly. In the original agreement, when we put in LA 23 and in parentheses DEFCO, the purpose of that was for the remainder of the document, we would use the word DEVCO, and that would reference LA 23. That's why it was in parentheses. So there wasn't an issue of different entities, but just like in anything, for example, if we have a document that says Plaquemines Port, Harbor, and Terminal District, in parentheses, we would put port. So that way, at other parts of the document, instead of putting in Plaquemines Port, Harbor, and Terminal District every time, we just put in the word port, and you go back to that reference originally of having the word port in parentheses. So that was the purpose of that.
but What about this company that emailed us all, Seabury Maritime? You know, if we sign this exclusivity agreement, these people's got to go through him and pay him to do the same job he's doing.
I think each case needs to be looked at on an individual case. But I'm not quite sure I followed what you were saying. As a company would come, they'd have to go through him?
Yeah.
No, that's not true.
Because he's not the only game in town. Other
If people want to bring in projects, I think that's fantastic. I think that's fantastic. Bring your project.
What was that?
Everything has to come to the port director at the end.
But none of us know what the port director ever gets, so we don't hear nothing until it's here.
Well, again, I think it's up to me and the staff to look at a project to see if it even passes muster to come to you guys. And there have been projects, like, as I said, that they didn't fit, either environmentally, or I didn't have the room, or, I have referred those projects to other ports. So, we're entertaining everything that comes. But if there's something that has merit, and then you came to the state of the port, we went to the process that we go through as far as looking at the project, kicking the tires, looking under the hood, doing the financials on it. And if it passes out muster, then I'm bringing it to y'all to consider. But I don't want to waste your time by everything that comes in and let y'all look at it and do the same thing that the port staff's doing. That's why you have the port staff.
I'm not wasting my time, that's what I get paid for. Whatever you bring me, I'll look at it and make a decision.
Well, I will be judicious with your time and bring you projects that, again, meet a threshold.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Councilman LaFrance.
My office also was contacted by Seabury Maritime. Are you familiar with them?
With what company, sir?
Seabury Maritime.
No, sir.
Your office was contacted by them?
Seabury Maritime. I don't believe so. I can, have y'all? No, sir, I don't think so. If you have a referral, we'll certainly run it to ground.
Well, on my email, it said that they sent it to you.
I'll take note of it and run it to ground, and I'll report back to you.
Do we have anybody here from Seabury Maritime? Because they express interest in this also. I just don't want to limit us to one company.
Yes, sir.
I said, Mr. Bartholomew.
Any other comments, table? Audience? Come forward, please. Mike, state your name and the address.
Wait.
Up here. Come to, podium. State your name and address, please.
My name is Betsy Pavlovich. My address is 122 Wood Chase in Belle Chase, Louisiana. I am the president of Nairn Concrete, founded in 1957. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for your service. I think we're all here together to improve the parish. I am thankful for the people who have given us the opportunity to develop the port. And y'all know much more about this than I. I'm just here as a small business owner. And the concept is so large, it's hard to wrap your mind around it. But my understanding is basically that the widening of the Panama Canal brings gives opportunity for bigger ships to pass through. They're higher and have a deeper draft. And Plaquemines Parish has no airspace obstructions. And recently, I thought the Mississippi River was deemed deep enough, but probably needs to be dredged again with all the changes. I'm not sure about that. Like I said, I'm not an expert at this. It's just what I've learned from going to meetings and stuff. We are one of only a few cities with access to major transportation modes: river, rail, highway, air, and pipeline. Plaquemines is the perfect place to offload the cargo from those big ships to the new American Patriot Holding ships with a lower draft and a faster turnaround time. And I don't mean to bore you. I know you've heard this a million times, but maybe hearing it, from the perspective of a small business person, it might help. I don't know. If you're boring me, just tell me to sit down and shut up. But it's just that there's also the issue that we're so close to the edge of the continental shelf, and we can supply hoses to offload bigger ships that can't come onto the continental shelf. Once again, I am thankful for the people who've offered us this global gift, which we in turn can gift better service to the United States and other countries. Once this project gains momentum, all kinds of people will become interested and say they can finance, and you can't, and then you lose control. So Sandy has worked on this for, I think, 6 years. He needs the money to make this dream a reality, and he trusts Chris Fetters. And Chris Fetters has been working on this probably for 3 years, I would guess. I don't know, he has the connections apparently to bring the money in. They both know the details of the projects. And like I said, there's so many projects, it's mind-boggling. And they know, now I need my glasses, they know the details of the projects, the agreements, and the needed resources to allow for focused projects to be developed in a logical fashion. You don't want a circus of things going on and not having control of it. So I can't imagine trusting this project to someone who would have to start from square one, as if I came up here and said I wanted to do something. I would have to start from square one, and that would be setting us back. That would be putting not a stop sign, but definitely a detour sign to it.
Excuse me, you have one more. Excuse me, you have 1 minute left.
Okay, I have the benefit I see to exclusivity is to maintain focused development and to prevent loss of control. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other comments from the audience? State your name and address. 3 minutes. Yeah, please.
Arthur Henry, Bell Chase. Benny, I agree with you. I'm a open market guy, but I listened to the colonel, and hey, we gotta trust him. We gotta get this going. The Newberry, you made a good point. Let's get it going and see where it flies.
You demoted the general from a colonel. I just want to let you know you're demoted. Well, I see. I know the general glad you're not on his review board. Anybody else in the audience?
If hearing none, machine is open for the vote. Item passes 5 with 3 noes. Next item, please.
6D, an ordinance to amend and as amended readopt Rule 1 in Chapter 1 of Section 2-18 of the Code of Ordinances for Plaquemines Parish relative to the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District to rescind, annul, and set aside ordinance number 19-37 and 16-46 and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
Mr. Condovich offered. Seconded by Councilman Blaine.
All this does is move the meetings back to 5 o'clock.
Okay. Table, question from the table? Audience? Machine is open. It passes 5-3. 3 abstentions. Next item, please.
Item 6F, An ordinance creating a policy in which the Port Administration shall update the shared drive on a monthly basis and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Mr. Roussel? Second by Councilman Black. Questions from the table? Audience? Machine is open. I'm sorry, excuse me. Okay.
The policy that we are proposing as staff, currently, as the resolution states, the documents are sent to the chairman and they are then uploaded to a share drive. This share drive that the documents are being uploaded to is the Plaquemines Parish Government Share Drive. The port staff does not have access to that drive. The port staff does have its own records management system. It is online. What I have done is I have purchased license for each council member to have access to that share drive that the port has and administers. So tomorrow I will be sending out emails for each council member. It will include a username and password, and all of the documents that have been previously shared with the board will now be placed on that shared drive through the port.
Mr. Roussel?
I just want to thank you for working in that direction, and could you also add the council secretary to that?
Yes, I will as well. I have a license for her as well.
And if anybody needs help, being able to get into it or whatnot, we can always come by the office and show you how to do it or whatever we need to do.
Yes, but there will be an email sent with a temporary password. I'll send it to all the district's emails. So that way, if your secretaries need access, or if you would prefer me to send it to them, however you would like, but I will be sending them to the District 1, District 2 emails, and they will have a temporary password, and it'll give you instructions. And I will be in the office all day tomorrow, so if you have any questions, just give us a call.
Any other comments from the table? Audience, the machine is open. Passes 8-0. Next item, please.
G, a resolution to amend and is amended readopts resolution number 19-73 dated February 28, 2019, with regard to the agreement for information technology services with Intelligent Transportation Systems, LLC, for the provision of IT services and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
I offer. Is there a second? Is there a second? Second by Councilman Tonovich. Discussion from the table. Audience, machine is open. Passes 8-0. Next item, please.
H, a resolution to provide port employees group coverages consisting of health, dental, vision, and life for the policy period of January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2020, and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
I offer. Second. Seconded. Mr. Harper. Huh? Oh, can the councilman get the insurance report? I beg your pardon?
Is it on? I'm sorry. This is our group health renewal for Blue Cross Blue Shield. We were very fortunate to only receive a 2.9 increase in our premium this year. It's going to be about $1.90 difference for our single employee and about a $5.40 increase for our family coverage.
That wasn't a question.
I'm sorry.
You told her what the question was?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. Well, no.
We'll figure it out.
What you mean, no?
We are a governing body of the port, so we have to legislate for the port. But okay, that was just a question I asked.
I'll see what I can do.
No, I mean, personally, I don't need it, but it's just a question I wanted to ask.
Sure.
Because since we're two different entities, the government and the port, but we are responsible for both entities. Because some of us do have parish insurance, some of us don't.
So I don't know, whichever one may offer a better deal, so you might want to go that route as well. That was the only reason why.
Okay.
Okay, machine is open.
You don't really want to ask me that, do you?
I know the answer. It passes 7 with 1 abstention from Councilman Black. Oh, he's absent, out the chamber. Next item, please.
I, a resolution to provide insurance for the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District for a period of January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2020, and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
I offer, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. LaFrance. LaFrance, wherever you live at in the
Les
parish.
Français.
La Free, La Free, La Free Français. Monsieur LaFrance. Table, anybody have a question from the table? Audience, machine is open. Passes 7-0. Next item, please.
J, a resolution adopting the addition to the personnel policies for the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Offer, is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Condovich. Question from the table? Audience? I'm sorry, Mr. Russell.
Yes, after reviewing the changes in the policy, I noticed that on page 82, at least the number of it, is that non-security personnel as approved by the executive director are qualifying underneath the personal use of the policy vehicle policy that we're talking about. How many people that you have assigned to, have vehicles assigned to that meet this criteria?
We have 3 that are non-security personnel.
And could you name those 3?
Sandy Sanders, Paul Matthews, and Shumbrell Williams.
And so they have use of a personal vehicle, okay. And they have port logos on them?
Yes, sir, they do.
All-
I don't believe that Sandy's does, or Paul's, but I know Shumbrell's does.
According to this policy, then you're gonna have to put port logos on all of them?
Yes. Yes.
And the other thing is that those individuals who drive to and from work will be charged 55 cents per mile
It's,
as added income
yes,
on their IRS
on the
reporting.
W-2, a fringe benefit.
And will that go in towards their retirement also, calculated into, if it's $400 a week for mileage, will that be added to their benefit for retirement?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Could you check that out and let us know?
can.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Yeah.
Ms. Newberry?
Why are we having to put logos on the vehicles? Is that required, or is that a decision that y'all decided to make?
We look at it as a state statute, if I remember correctly, a state statute for public vehicles requires one, yeah.
It was a question because sometimes businesses don't allow like that because of, insurance purposes.
That's correct, yeah.
Any other comments? Audience? Machine is open. I'm not sure. 8-0. Welcome back, Councilman Black. Glad to have you. Next item, please.
6K, an ordinance adopting the original operating budget of revenues and expenditures for the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2020 and ending December 31st, 2020, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
I offer, is there a second? Second. Second by Councilwoman, Newberry. A question from the table? Audience? Machine is open. Passes 8-0. Next item, please.
L, an ordinance adopting the original capital improvement budget for the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District for the 5-year period beginning January 1st, 2020 and ending December 31st, 2024, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
I offer. The second.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Newberry. Question from the table. Audience, machine is open. Passes 8-0. Next item, please.
M, an ordinance establishing a policy of budgetary control for the operating budget of expenditures for the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2020 and ending December 31st, 2020, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
Offer. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Newberry. Question from the table. Audience, machine is open. Passes 8-0. Next item, please.
N, an ordinance to amend the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District 2019 operating budget of revenue and expenditures and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Offer. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Newberry. Question from the table. Audience, machine is open. Passes 8-0. Next item, please.
P, a resolution designating the fiscal agent for the parish of Plaquemines for the period commencing January 1st, 2020 and ending January 1st, 2023, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
I'd like to offer with the changes, passing them out. Sorry about that. Bob, you have a copy of the changes?
Yes, sir.
Would you read the changes, please?
The changes are in line 1, changing parish of Plaquemines to read Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District. On the line 3, changing the year from 2019 to 2020.
I offer with those changes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Newberry. Question from the table. Audience.
Oh, yes. Could you tell the people who was the fiscal agent?
Regions Bank.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comment from the audience? The machine is open. Passes 8-0. Next item, please.
T, a resolution authorizing Maynard J. Sandy Sanders, Executive Director of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, to extend the current agreement for professional services with Dwyer, Cambry, and Suffren for the provision of legal counsel and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Offer. Is there a second? Second. Second by Councilman Goy. Question from the table. Audience. Machine is open. Passes 8-0. Next item, please.
There are no introductions of resolutions where suspension is being sought. Number 8, approval of the November 13, 2019 budget hearing minutes and the November 14, 2019 meeting minutes.
I offer both. That second by Mr. LaFons. Machine is, any question from the table? Audience, machine is open.
I'm sorry, y'all. Can y'all vote again, please?
Please revote.
Councilmembers Gooey and Black, can y'all please? Thank you.
Passes 8-0. Councilman Black offers to adjourn. There's a second. Second by Mr. Konovich. Machine is open.
Councilmember Rousseau.
Machine is, court is adjourned at 1:56.